The difference between talent and discipline often reveals itself in the quietest moments, long before the applause, long before the recognition, long before the world even notices. Imagine two individuals standing at the starting line of life. One is naturally gifted. Everything comes easy, almost effortless. The other struggles at first, slower to learn, slower to rise, but unwilling to quit. In the beginning, talent dazzles. It shines brightly, attracting praise, validation, and opportunity. But as time passes, something fascinating happens. The shine of talent begins to fade, and the steady, relentless force of discipline starts to dominate the race. Talent is seductive because it creates early wins. A talented student scores high without studying much. A gifted athlete performs well without grueling practice. A naturally charismatic speaker captivates audiences without formal training. These early victories build confidence, but they also build complacency. Talent whispers a dangerous lie. You don't need to try that hard. Discipline, on the other hand, speaks a harsher truth. You must show up, whether you feel like it or not. And that difference between relying on ease and committing to effort quietly shapes destiny. Over time, talent without discipline begins to plateau. The talented student who never learned how to study struggles when subjects become complex. The gifted athlete who avoided hard training gets overtaken by less talented but harder-working competitors. The natural speaker who never practiced fails to evolve. Talent opens the door, but discipline keeps it open. Without discipline, talent becomes trapped within its own comfort zone, unable to grow beyond its initial advantage. Discipline, however, compounds. That is its hidden superpower. When someone commits to daily improvement, even in tiny increments, the results accumulate. 1 extra hour of practice. 1 more repetition. 1 more page read. 1 more uncomfortable effort. These small acts seem insignificant in isolation, but over months and years, they create exponential growth. Discipline transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary performers, not through sudden leaps, but through relentless consistency. Another reason discipline outperforms talent is resilience. Talent often collapses under pressure because it has rarely been tested by failure. Disciplined individuals, however, are forged in adversity. They are used to struggle. They expect obstacles. They are not emotionally shattered by setbacks because discipline has trained them to persist regardless of outcomes. When life becomes difficult, and it inevitably does, discipline becomes armor, while talent alone becomes fragile glass. Discipline also builds identity. A talented person may see performance as something they are. A disciplined person sees performance as something they do. This distinction is powerful. If talent defines you, failure threatens your identity. But if discipline defines you, failure is simply feedback. Disciplined people return the next day, adjust, and continue. Their self-worth is rooted in effort, not outcomes. There is also a psychological freedom in discipline that talent rarely provides. Talent creates pressure to always appear gifted. Discipline removes that burden. It allows individuals to be learners, to be imperfect, to grow publicly. This mindset accelerates mastery because it welcomes correction rather than resisting it. Over time, disciplined learners surpass talented performers because they evolve faster. In professional environments, discipline becomes even more decisive. Organizations value reliability more than flashes of brilliance. A disciplined employee who consistently delivers will outpace a talented but inconsistent peer. Leaders trust those who execute daily, not those who perform occasionally. Careers are built not on peak moments, but on sustained dependability, and that is discipline's domain. Discipline also governs time, the most non-renewable resource. Talent may determine how fast you run, but discipline determines how long you stay on the track. The disciplined wake up early, prepare, practice, refine, and repeat, even when motivation disappears. Because motivation is emotional and temporary, while discipline is structural and enduring. When motivation fades, discipline remains. Another overlooked dimension is emotional regulation. Discipline trains individuals to act despite moods. Talented individuals often perform only when they feel right. Disciplined individuals perform regardless. This emotional neutrality creates massive output differences over years. Waiting to feel inspired wastes time. Acting despite feeling uninspired multiplies productivity. History repeatedly validates this pattern. The world's highest achievers are rarely the most naturally gifted. They are the most relentlessly consistent. Their advantage lies not in superior starting points, but in superior habits. Daily routines, structured practice, relentless repetition, these become the engines of greatness. Talent may ignite the spark, but discipline fuels the fire. Discipline also scales across domains. Talent is usually narrow, musical, athletic, intellectual. Discipline is universal. A disciplined person can learn new skills faster because they understand effort mechanics. They know how to structure practice, manage time, and sustain focus. This adaptability allows disciplined individuals to reinvent themselves repeatedly, while talent often locks people into fixed identities. Moreover, discipline builds trust, both internal and external. Internally, it creates self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, confidence deepens. Externally, it builds reputation. People rely on those who show up prepared, punctual, and consistent. Trust opens doors that talent alone cannot unlock. Perhaps the most profound difference lies in sustainability. Talent burns bright but can burn out. Discipline is renewable. It does not depend on energy spikes or emotional highs. It functions through systems, routines, and structures that sustain performance for decades. This longevity is why disciplined individuals dominate long-term arenas: business, academia, leadership, entrepreneurship. And then comes the ultimate irony. Discipline eventually creates what looks like talent. After years of disciplined repetition, skills become fluid, natural, effortless. Observers call it giftedness, unaware that they are witnessing the polished outcome of thousands of unseen hours. Discipline manufactures the very illusion of talent. So when we ask why discipline beats talent, the answer is layered. Discipline compounds effort. It builds resilience. It sustains performance. It multiplies time. It regulates emotion. It builds trust. It scales across skills. And most importantly, it endures when talent falters. If you feel untalented, take heart, because discipline is democratic. It is available to anyone willing to commit. You do not need extraordinary gifts to achieve extraordinary outcomes. You need extraordinary consistency. Show up when it's inconvenient. Practice when it's boring. Continue when it's difficult. That is the quiet formula that outperforms brilliance. And if you are talented, discipline becomes even more critical, because without it, talent decays. But with it, talent becomes unstoppable. Discipline does not diminish talent. It weaponizes it. In the end, the race is not won by who starts fastest, but by who refuses to stop. Talent may win applause early, but discipline wins respect late. Talent may attract attention, but discipline builds legacy. So the question is not, are you talented enough? The real question is, are you disciplined enough to keep going when talent is no longer enough? Because the future does not belong to the gifted. It belongs to the consistent. And if there is one call to action worth embracing, it is this: stop waiting to feel ready. Stop measuring your natural ability. Start building disciplined systems around your goals. Create routines that make progress inevitable. Protect your time. Honor your commitments. And remember, every master you admire is simply a beginner who refused to break their discipline. Show up tomorrow, then the next day, then the next. Because discipline, quietly and relentlessly, will take you where talent alone never could.